Hello everyone, I'm Ann LaPrade, and on behalf of the Council on Finance and Administration, I thank you for watching this video in preparation for our gathering in Washington, D.C. later this year at annual conference. We have a short agenda today. I will start by giving some of the highlights of the 2016 year-end performance. And then I will move right into the budget proposal for 2018 that the CFA is bringing before the annual conference. Let me start by thanking everyone in our local churches for your continued support of our connectional ministry. The conference continued to see record high apportionment giving in 2016, and we can really celebrate that our collection rate of 92.1% beat our budget that was set at 92% for the year. As you can see from our chart, we have been slowly moving together as a conference from a collection rate budget of 90% back in 2010 and 2011 to a 92% budget in 2015 and 2016. There were dips in our performance between the start and finish of this journey, but we can really celebrate that our church leaders never lost hope in this good goal that helps our ministry be more effective. As part of the celebration, we recognize that we are now up to 84% of our local churches that are giving at 100% of their shared ministry. As we look at the total year-end performance, we can see that the strong apportionment results were combined with very good performance on the non-apportionment income and total expenses for an overall net income of $306,000 for the year. This continued a small turnaround for the conference where prior net incomes were reported as zero in 2015, $300,000 negative in 2014, and $177 negative in 2013 as we felt the impact of collection rates that fell short of the budget. The good non-apportioned income performance was driven primarily by retreat and camping ministry revenues that exceeded their budget by $177,000. This performance was highlighted by an 11% increase in day camp initiatives in Baltimore City and West Virginia. This was combined with a 22% increase in retreat guests as new groups started to use Camp Manidokan and Camp Harmison. The details about the good expense performance are found on the next slide. Expenses were over budget for staff benefits, the annual conference sessions, and moving expenses. These were offset by underruns in camping, legal expenses, and retiree medical claims. Overall, the expenses were $112,000 less than budget for the year, and they were also $135,000 less than the expenses of the prior year. We thank the annual conference staff for their good stewardship and expense control that helped to deliver such a strong financial performance for the year. We now turn to the budget proposal for 2018. Looking at the high level of how the apportionment budget is calculated, we see that the 2018 budget anticipates little change from the 2017 budget. The apportionment base was increased by 0.4% to $87.4 million. The benevolence factor will be decreased slightly to 17.725%. This is the first reduction in the benevolence factor since it was reduced from 19.5% during the course of the 2012 and 2013 budgets. The collection rate assumption will remain at 92%, which gives us an apportionment income of $14.3 million, which is an increase of 0.3% over the 2017 budget. This is the sixth year in a row that the apportionment base has remained relatively flat. This is relatively a new trend for us because prior to 2010, the apportionment base used to grow at a typical rate of 3% per year. So it's good for us to look at the different expense items that make up the apportionment base to see how they are trending in the 2016 statistical data that was collected from each of our churches in January. What we see is that pastor compensation expenses and church operating expenses are growing by 1.9% and 1.3% respectively. These are going up slightly, while the expenses for other church staff have declined by 0.2%. Overall, the expenses that make up the apportionment base for our churches are growing at 0.4%. It is also interesting to note from the statistical data that the income for our churches increased by a similar amount of 0.2%. Once again, everything is relatively flat. The CFA's budget proposal to increase apportionment income by only 0.3% is keeping in mind these fundamental statistics. You will find the detailed budget proposal as one of the documents that you can download from the annual conference website. I list here some of the highlights that you will see in the department expenses. First, the budget builds a 2.5% increase into staff salaries for the year. It also shifts funds from conference grants to fund the full-time Hispanic ministries position. This move is budget neutral, and it confirms the success of the Hispanic ministries position that has been supported temporarily by grant funding over the last couple of years. In keeping with our strategic initiatives from the 2017 budget, we will continue to fund 100% of the retiree medical expenses from the Board of Pension Reserves. $350,000 will be set aside to help move our CFA reserves from 10% to 15% of the apportionment budget, and $500,000 will be used for accelerated payments on our debt. The debt reduction efforts are helping to reduce our Mission Center mortgage in 2018 by $39,000. You will also note that the general church apportionments decreased slightly by $2,775 as they remain approximately 20% of our overall conference budget. And it is good to know that we are continuing to forecast good growth at our camps with a 4.2% increase in registrations. When we add the apportionment income to the non-apportionment income, we get a total budget proposal of $18.5 million. This is actually a 1% decrease from the 2017 budget as shown in the top chart. The bottom chart reflects the apportionment income proposal, which is $14.3 million. I thank you for your interest in this year's budget proposal. We believe the strategic directions that were adopted in the 2017 budget are still serving us well, and we look forward to receiving any questions you might have as you look over the online materials. As a last point, before I close, I want to take this opportunity to provide focus to an area of our connected ministry that our finance office is trying to make quite visible for us this year. Their work with Vanco is offering our churches through June the 30th of this year a special offer to start electronic giving at your church with no startup fees and no monthly fees for up to 24 months. Vanco attended all of our leadership days this year with the assistance of our finance office, and they were able to get the details of their message to 120 of our churches. Our finance office feels this is the year that all of us need to feel the urgency to implement electronic giving as part of our radical hospitality to all who come through our doors. We ask you to look on our BWC website or call the finance office for more details on this special offer. This brings me to a close of our CFA presentation. I thank you for your willingness to use our video in your preparation to vote on the 2018 budget proposal at annual conference. Thank you. And thanks be to God for the resources we have been given to make the difference we can and do make as people of God in the Baltimore-Washington Conference.